If your content isn't making you consistent cash, there is a problem, and it's not the dang algorithm. For starters, you must have people to present your profitable content to in order to get the sales and clients. This is something that will get me on a tiff rant. When I see people on the interweb saying things like, it doesn't matter what your audience size is, you can still make, $10,000 a month, $100,000 a month. That would be like saying you own a coffee shop in town and it's in one of those like really weird, obscure strip malls that gets like very little foot traffic because the stores in there are so random and you can't see it from a main street. And you only have like one or two people walking by a day. And then someone says to you, oh, that doesn't matter, that no one knows where your store is. You're doing no advertising and you only have one or two people walking a day. You'll be making heavy money in no time. It'll be the most popular place there is in town. It's like, that sounds crazy, right? Well, look at your Instagram, your TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Look at all of that as your digital storefront. That would be weird. We want more people, not just anybody though. We don't want just looky-loos. We want people who are actually looking to buy, looking for a solution, eager and excited to improve certain areas of their life and willing to put money on the line for it because they know how important that is and they know that they want more for themselves and their lives and their families. We want those qualified people. So yes, you need to also be consistently growing your audience while you're converting and nurturing your current audience. Otherwise, you're going to tap them out. So if you have 100 people in your collective audience between your email list, Instagram, Facebook, all those things, don't have an expectation you're going to get dozens of sales. The proven math is 3% of your audience is ready to buy from you at any given time. So 3 out of every 100% potential clients, not like Auntie Claire and whoever else you have that's following you, that won't buy from you. The mistake most businesses, big and small, make is the same. I work as a high-level digital marketing and branding consultant for multi-billion-dollar big brands for my other business that I've had for over 15 years now, along with working with everyone from solopreneurs, startup people, small business owners with ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. And those people generate anywhere from $500 a month to $100,000 a month to $50,000 a month to 7 figures a month. The main problem is the same when their content isn't converting. They're focusing on creating pretty and on-brand content that gives some kind of value, but it ends up having zero emotional connection. People buy based on feelings and facts. If you leave one of those out, you've got a hole in your marketing plan that will end up costing you a ton of money. So let's plug that hole in today's money-making episode, the 4 keys to creating money-making content. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash-making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your relationships, and everything in between so you can have your most abundant life because you deserve it and you get to have what you desire. We've been taught that we don't get to have these things unless we sacrifice something, unless we trade something, unless we are this ultimate version of ourselves, like the absolute highest vibe, most productive, most on it, most put together version. And it's simply not true. And I want you to keep reminding that inner bully in your brain. I want you to keep telling him or her, maybe you have a whole committee in there. It's just simply not true. Thanks for sharing. Not true. We don't have to yell back at it. It's just a bunch of nonsense. And we've been marketed to since we were infants. And part of a lot of traditional old school marketing, I mean, there is a shift that's happening. And I certainly don't market this way, where we're being told we need something in order to have the happiness, in order to have what we want. We need to be thinner. We need to be prettier. We need to have smoother skin, right? We need to eat organic. We need to drink more milk. And then there's all these conflicting things that it's saying that we need to do. And it's enough to make our brains spin. And the truth is, you have everything that you need at this very moment today to have what you want. That doesn't mean that you don't need to require knowledge or get guidance or have support. But really what I mean is at core and your foundation, you have what it takes just as you are right now. And don't let anyone, especially your own brain, tell you any fucking differently. Okay? The 4 keys to creating money-making content. And I know you lose your mind when you're spending all this time on content. You're pouring your heart out. You're coming up with creative ideas. Everyone says to be consistent. I'm doing all these things, Tiffany, and I'm really not getting much from it. I get some sales here and there, but there's nothing consistent. I'm not waking up to sales. It's not like I know what to post in order to get my audience excited and eager to buy from me. Well, we're going to fix that. And don't make it sound like it has to be super complicated. It's not. But with what I say to people in my ProjectME Posse business coaching membership, which, by the way, spring mega sale right now, it is ending soon, where you get my content creation made easy course bundle. The exact content planner I use to plan my content. And no, I don't batch like a month at a time. I don't even want you to do that. I do not recommend this. I don't care how big a company is. I don't want you to do this. That doesn't mean you can't outline it, but I certainly don't want you to go that far ahead. This is really designed for people who have a hard time being focused. You tend to procrastinate. Maybe you have ADHD. You're someone who can be very scattered. Maybe you have complex trauma like me, or you have a learning disability, and it really zaps your energy and frustrates you to no end to even come up with content ideas and then have the discipline and the energy to do a bunch of posts in one sitting. I've got you in this content creation made easy course bundle. I'm giving it to you for free right now. It's a $300 value once you join the Posse. I keep my Posse membership capped at 250 members. The reason is this is how I can call it a group business coaching membership. So this isn't one of those memberships that you get lost in where they charge you $11 and there's a bunch of videos, but you never go watch them. No, there's live weekly trainings. We know when you're missing. Everyone supports one another in the Posse. People are dropping their offers, their graphics, they're going on each other's podcasts, they're getting feedback from one another. We talk about entrepreneurial meltdowns, plus you're getting all the straight up clear strategy. All the details and information are on my ProjectME Posse page. So that's projectmewithttiffany.com/ProjectME Posse. You can swipe up and the link is also in the show notes and it's in my bio on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany. I didn't want to forget to tell you guys this because that is the perfect adjunct to this episode today. Because I'm giving you the information today, but what you need help with is the implementation of the information and the accountability to do the damn thing. And so the Posse is a perfect fit, and it's month to month. You can cancel at any time. You're not going to want to. People have been in there for years, and you can save money. I've put in a year option, so you can buy a year and save several $100s because I'm always about a good savings. That's like actually one of my money hacks, that if you can spend more upfront to save more later, do it. because that is one of the main ways to save. That's why like I will pay my credit cards in full, or when I had like a second mortgage on my townhouse before, I made sure I paid off that second as soon as I could, even though it was a lot of money missing from my account. It freaked me out. In the short term, long term, I ended up saving tens of thousands of dollars in interest. And I don't know how to shut off my Stripe notifications. So if you guys can hear this, just take it as abundance noises. We like getting the bing, bing, bong, bongs. Let's talk about that. Let's get you more bing, bing, bong, bongs. You want to wake up to where that thing is chiming and rhyming, and you're like, dang, look what happened overnight. And this is possible for you. So let's get down to it. 4 keys to creating money-making content. Number 1, and I'm doing it in the order deliberately. You have to stand out and stop people's scroll. You've probably heard versions of people saying this. You're like, yeah, I know. No, let me go deeper with this for you. I want you to spend 80% of your creative and mental bandwidth and energy on your hook line, on the first 3 seconds of a video, on the subject line of your email. I'm not joking you. A lot of you will spend a crap ton of time on this like long email or this long post or whatever, re-record a video like 17 times. Priority 1 is if you do not get their attention in that first 3 seconds, they're not going to watch or consume the rest of your content and you've wasted your time. And only 8 out of 10 people watch the first 3 seconds, read the subject line or the first line of a caption. That's it. So 80% of people aren't looking at your full thing, but that's okay because 20% are. And we want to make sure those 20% do end up reading all the things, and they certainly won't if you don't get them right away. So what do I mean by this? And you can't really copy other people's hook lines. So if you're like, oh, I'll go look at Tiffany's stuff because her stuff works and I'll borrow her hook lines. You don't have the same audience I do. You don't have the same ideal client. And most importantly, there's no way you could have my same personality, my same communication style, my same speech pattern. That's what makes us all so unique and why there's enough business and enough people and enough clients for all of us, no matter how saturated you feel your industry is, because like attracts like, and people vibe certain people. And people don't vibe other people. So your people are going to vibe you, even if someone else has way more credentials, more testimonials, more experience. I mean, when I hired my fitness trainer, he's a young guy. There's a lot of other people who have way more experience, who have like advanced master's degrees and like, I don't know, physical sciences and shit like that. I didn't care. I felt safe with him. He was someone who I would want to hang out with. We vibe. We have very similar personalities, or we find most people very annoying. And we have similar sense of humor. We both grew up with having trauma. So he understood when I talked to him about having PTSD and why it's so important for me to do boxing and how that releases chemicals from my body for somatic healing and all this stuff. He totally got it. And I was like, this is my person. My point in going off on this is that you need to talk how you talk in real life. So your hook line, you know, when you call a friend and you have some tea to spill, like some shit went down at work, or your husband really pissed you off, or your kid did something funny, or you watch something on the Housewives or whatever, and you're like, can you believe? Or like the whole Vanderpump Rules scandal, which I'm super into, by the way. And if you need heavy TV dissociation right now and you've not watched Vanderpump Rules, like highly recommended. You say something like, girl, you are not going to believe what happened today. Oh my God, do I have a story for you? You say stuff like that. I mean, if you're really good at like amping up the tease and theatrics for people in your life, which all of us do, I don't care what your personality is, right? Like this happened at the grocery store and I'm still shocked by it. So how do you do that in your own way. I want you to, in your notes app, in one of your 500 journals, I want you to write those down, and then you're just going to massage them so they make sense for your business or your brand. That's how you get people's attention. That's really what you're doing. It's one person on the other end of that phone or that screen. It's not a whole audience of people that you're talking to. So when you spill it like that, like, listen, I got something to tell you guys. You're not going to believe this. People want to listen. They're like, oh, what's going on? Now, I just said you guys, but I'm also talking on the podcast, half caffeinated, and I say the term you guys all the time. I even say it to all the different voices in my head. So visually, how do we stop that scroll? It doesn't have to be that you're dancing. It doesn't mean you have to be half naked. You don't have to do theatrics. It can be your energy. It can be, and I don't mean even high energy. It could be you whispering the hook line. But I want you to at least memorize what that hook line is. And that's the first thing that you say on your video. And then you can always stop it and then start it again when you're getting into the meat of your stuff. But if you don't get people, then you're screwed. So let's move on to the second key. Show that you relate to your ideal client. You relate to them on exactly how they're feeling. Like, I know how you feel. What do you do in real life when a friend's going through a divorce or a breakup, or someone got completely embarrassed by something at work, or a client didn't pay them, or something happened and they're calling you upset and they're calling you to vent? When you're someone who's truly empathetic and compassionate, which I believe you are, you wouldn't be listening to the show. Well, I don't know. I have been known to attract a narcissist or two. So if you're listening, please stop. I want you to use what you would say to someone. You almost have to create like an imaginary friend scenario in your head. You repeat back to someone how they're saying they're feeling or what their experience is, and say, I understand that you're feeling scared and you're feeling totally ashamed and you're afraid that you're going to get fired. So when you repeat back to somebody how they're telling you they feel around a circumstance, and even if their feelings aren't facts, even if it's totally irrational, but you're validating them. So that's the next thing that you need to do, is validate your ideal client on how they're feeling, whether it's about their gut health, their hormones, their relationship, their business, wherever they are and whatever problem you help people with, their looks. If you're someone who's a permanent makeup artist and you're like, well, I tattoo lips and brows. Like, how deep is that? It's deep. But let me tell you something. Botox is deep. There's a procedure that I had, and I'm spacing on the names. Like I said, we have half calf tiff right now. That's all you guys are getting is half calf tiff. And I know I have a lot of doctors who listen to the show, so you guys can DM me and remind me of the name. I want to call it sclerotherapy, but I don't think that's what it is. You can inject certain veins with a solution and the vein will disintegrate. So if you have like a visible vein, and these aren't for like varicose veins, but you have a visible surface vein that you think is ugly. And I had one on the outside of my left knee all growing up. And it was like it was flat, but it was really bright blue. And it would even show up in like pictures and stuff. And like most girls, I was very insecure about it, which probably no one noticed. And I remember when I was a pharmaceutical rep and I was in the dermatology field, and he's still a good friend of mine to this day, but he said, I can get rid of that vein if it bothers you in literally like 5 minutes. And I never told him about the vein. He saw it. And I mean, he has that kind of personality. And I was like embarrassed, but I was also like, really? I go, is it going to hurt? I'm like thinking a vein. How do you remove a vein? And he injected it, and it was literally just like it was like magic. I watched it like disappear. And I'm talking like would wear, as an adult too, I would put like body makeup on it, wear shit to cover it, cross my legs in a certain way to hide it. All those years, and in basically 5 minutes, it was gone. My point of this very long, riveting vein story is to tell you that even stuff that seems surface in the beauty field, in aesthetics, in if you sell makeup, clothes, it can seem, how is that deep? Oh, it's deep. You just need help getting that deep. So you need to show your ideal client you get them. When someone feels like you get them at a deep level, you've got them. And it feels really good to both of you. 3, establish your expertise in this problem area of theirs. A lot of people think, oh, I can establish my expertise by just giving like how-to content. Yeah, educational content is one way of establishing your expertise, but there's many other ways. You can establish your expertise by sharing your different perspective on things, your nuances that you do on techniques, problems that you see in that industry and what you do to address them. That's where you establish yourself as an authority in your space. A lot of people can give how-to comment on hair, how-to comment on creating content, right? This is in a sense, this is a how-to episode today. It's an educational episode. But how I've established myself as a top expert in my space is I have a different take and a different technique that I use when creating content, which is why my content is profitable and why I'm hired by multi-billion-dollar brands to consult with them, and why I've created 2 businesses, one's 8 figures, one's 7 figures, is because what I teach works and it's in the foundation of emotion. These are my emotional-based sales techniques. These are at the root, at the core of all my programs, from my Posse membership to my Signature Selling with Soul program. I have a brand new program that is coming out. It is a hybrid of a program plus mastermind. And there may or may not be a link in the show notes right now for it. If there's not, it's coming soon. But if you want to be the first to know, you want to make sure you're in my Secret Posse Weekly Digest. This is where you get free exclusive content from me every single week, where you get an affirmation that you can print out, you can cut out, you can keep it as your phone wallpaper, where you get very intimate stories from me and behind the scenes stuff. Plus you get exclusive access to sales and are the first to know about new programs and new offers. And you can sign up for that by going in the show notes, scroll all the way down to the bottom, or go to projectmewithtiffany.com/secret posse. And you'll be able to find out about this today, if not very soon. So establishing that credibility in your space can also be done by you sharing how you helped a certain client. You can use yourself as your own testimonial, so how you helped yourself. Also, even sharing what you've learned by working with your business coach. So often I have clients who will share key takeaways and things that they've learned from working with me, and they credit me. But what that does is it establishes them as more of an authority and more likable and more credible, because they're practicing what they preach. Their audience is seeing that they invest in themselves, that they are furthering their knowledge and their skill set, which they only benefit from when they buy from you. And I personally only want to hire someone, whether you're a practitioner, you're a healer, you're a physician, you're an accountant, you're a realtor, you're a coach. I only want to hire someone who is continually learning and growing and has that kind of support. So that's another great way. The 4th thing, tell them what action they need to take. Tell the people, based upon where they're feeling, where they're at right now, and the subject matter of this piece of content where you established your expertise in this area and shared some advice, a solution, a perspective shift, you've shared some solid value, you guys often leave out what action they need to take next. People want you to tell them what to do when they are seeking counsel, they are seeking guidance, and you not telling them on repeat what to do is doing them a disservice. So tell them, just like I told you, you want to make sure that this isn't just information and that you implement this information and follow through so that you're waking up to the bing, bing, bong, bongs. Then you need to take advantage of the spring mega bonus sale going on in the ProjectME Posse business coaching membership right now. I've told you where to go, where you can learn more and get better results and show up for yourself and stack the odds in your favor so that you win and you get the cash and you get the clients and you get what you want, instead of using, I'm going to post more, I hope this works, I'll just keep trying to figure it out on my own. We know that's not doing anything. That is not a profitable business plan. You would be kicked off the Shark Tank if you told them, this is my digital marketing plan for my business. It'd be like, that's not a plan. We are not investing in you. So tell them where to go. And it doesn't always have to be for something that's paid. It could be for something free, right? Like I shared with you, you want to be the first to know about my new program that is like totally game changing. No one does this in the industry. And it's a combination of a program plus mastermind and live experience. Then you need to go see if that link's in the show notes. And if it's not there, make sure you're in my Secret Posse Weekly Digest, which is free. That's free. So it can be something that's free. It's somewhere you're telling them to go further to get more help with that specific issue or that problem they're having or that desire they want or that thing that they want. And it's funny what happens. And this has been studied by many universities and big marketing agencies. If you don't tell people what to do versus telling them what to do, whether it's in a blog article, a podcast, a post, a video, whatever it is like a 1,500% difference in the amount of people who take an action and buy. That big of a difference. So please, for the love of God, it's called a call to action, and you better give them one, and you better make it easy, and it better be clear, because when we confused people don't buy anything. Confused people doesn't make cash. If you found this episode helpful and you want to give back to the show, it would really mean a lot if you tap the 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. It takes like literally 1 second to do that. If you want to even go further and really make my day, you can write a written Apple podcast review and then leave your name or Instagram handle in the review. Take a screenshot of it and DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany, and I will gift you with a special treat. And if you don't want a special treat and you just want to do it to give abundance back to an episode that has given you so much value and laughs and has done a lot for you, then that's awesome too. And I so appreciate it. But you have to do one of those 2 things. Tap the 5 stars or tap the 5 stars and leave a written review. Like, period, end of story. Love you guys so much. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.